All right, welcome everybody to a special edition of XN interviews featuring the some of the Futurism Society. I'm XN, and with me is JX as always. We've got a few guests joining us this weekend. If you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves, we'll go ahead and go around the table. Jim, you want to go first?
Yeah, this is Jim. Glad to be on here. And I will say, there's one person joining today who's not part of the society, even though we've been trying to court them. So just want to give that disclaimer. We have to be transparent about that so that, he's not associated with us when he's not ready to be. So that's fine.
Yeah, and that would be Metal Sonic Dude. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me on again. I'm looking forward to this discussion.
Awesome. Thanks, dude. And another one is the Mad Titan. Thank you for joining us.
Hello there. It's nice to see you all, and I'm just here to hopefully have a fun time with helping with these XN interviews for once.
All right. So, quick disclaimer: we are talking about Kabam Frenchie, who is not technically with Kabam anymore. So, these questions were asked after he had left. Jim, is there anything you want to shed some light on with these questions before we get started?
So one of the things that was interesting is when Kabam Frenchie went on to Twitter and announced that it was his last day with Kabam. There was a lot of people in the community reaching out, asking questions, wishing him well. And so Slayer of Gods had a brilliant idea of, well, hey, why don't we get a post Kabam interview with Frenchie just to see, what it was like working there, what were some of his thoughts on the state of the game and the economy. And one of the things that he was very, very adamant about was he was talking about himself and himself alone, not representative of Kabam. Each designer has their own philosophy, their own work method, and things can change since he's no longer working at Kabam anymore. And keep in mind, he left, I believe it was back in March, wasn't it? So maybe even February. So it's been a bit. We've been working on the back end to collect some questions and get those answers from him. We have them. So I'm going to make sure that those disclaimers are out there.
Awesome. So, we'll go ahead and get started then. So the first group of questions is from Jim. JX, you want to go ahead and read the first couple?
Yeah, man, let's do it. So Jim asked, he said, general information about the game economy, how you approached it and how you can keep it balanced. And so Jim will kind of answer what Kabam Frenchie responded to him with, and we kind of discuss it.
Yeah. So, and keep in mind, that was his primary role. He was the chief game economy designer for Marvel Contest of Champions. So that was why I threw that one out right out of the bat. So his response was, as economy designer, we have two big challenges: make a pleasant experience for the players and make sure the game content can last for years to come. It's a tricky balance to have. On one hand, players always want more, of course, which can be detrimental to the game. If I, speaking as Kabam Frenchie, give you everything right away, you will probably be bored quickly. On the other hand, if we're too stingy to extend the life of the game, the sense of progression can be almost non-existent. So without going into too much detail, that is pretty much the basis of all the economy balancing in game, keeping you happy for the longest time possible. That's the other's answer. So what's everyone think about that response?
Personally, I'm sorry, go ahead if you were going to say something.
No, go ahead, Titan.
Okay, so personally, I think that is probably correct because you have to have both hands. Like, if you have too much of one hand, it's going to balance out the game. It's going to unbalance the game. So it'll either get too boring really quickly or it'll be too hard to progress, which will also make it boring. So you have to keep the rewards intact with each other.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's really hard too. Like the economy of the game, it's a lot of people ask like, why isn't it like this? MSD has some things later on, and it's definitely hard. And this game does pretty good job at it. When it comes to the end game players, I'm not too much into that. But as progressed through the game since 2015, it's been a really good ride. And compared to other games, I'm super surprised how good the game has done, specifically economy wise.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between the economy and what we may look at as the quality of champ. So, you know, being able to pull a 5-star all the time, it gets easier, right? To be able to accumulate those 5-star
Oh yeah.
shards. You're definitely opening that up. You can see kind of as the game progresses more to a higher tier or higher star rating or higher, rank of a champion, then maybe some of the harder to get materials are now a lot easier to come by. So that's really where the game economy comes in. And I just want to make sure that we're not comparing that to the balance of the characters, which is a completely different area and not one that I think Frenchie was part of. So
Yeah, exactly.
we continue to, pull Groot. That's not really the game economy side.
Okay, so who were the biggest class clowns at Kabam HQ?
This is I was really hoping it was going to be somebody that we in the community knew. I was expecting it's probably like Kabam EK or even Sassy. I could see either of them kind of being it, or honestly even John. He just seems like somebody that be a big
Yeah.
clown. But Frenchie's response was, the community doesn't know him, but he's a data scientist. One of the most intelligent people I know, yet the biggest clown at Kabam. So I don't know if we can really elaborate on that, but I think it would have been interesting if it had been somebody the community was aware of. So
Yeah.
which is interesting that as many Kabam employees that I think the community engages with, it's like the tip of the iceberg of how many people actually work there. So
Yeah, that's that's something really cool, and especially even the people who we do react, connect, we do talk about and do respond to. We still don't know a lot about them, and since we're gonna have a lot of the Kabam members I'm really excited to get to learn them. Like we're learning about Frenchie. I didn't know that much about Frenchie before this, so it's pretty awesome that we get to interview him and get to know who the biggest clown is, even though it's a data scientist we don't know. I mean, it's pretty cool that this person's talked about.
and let me just say that I did not spoil it that you're having many Kabam people on. Okay, so I know I spoil things, but I didn't spoil that part. You just did. So.
We can edit it out.
Yeah.
This is like a month in advance, basically.
Okay. So this one, I have a feeling we're going to have Metal Sonic chime in on this one, but you want to go ahead and read the answer?
Yeah, so obviously you asked what are your favorite champions in regards to both animations and or abilities.
So Frenchie responded he loves Quake. He's a big Quake player, but She-Hulk was my bae for a long time. I can't compete with the newer champions for their animation, though. It's improved so far over the years, and on that aspect, I would say either Jubilee or Spider-Ham. So his favorite players, as far as using them, was Quake and She-Hulk. As far as animations, Jubilee and Spider-Ham. So, MSD, what do you think?
I can't get much better than that, really. He's a man after my own heart, saying She-Hulk was his bae. So,
So he likes champs that shut things down.
Oh, of course, yeah. Very clearly from the dominant Quake who just denies all things defensive and offensively annoying. Then there's She-Hulk who overpowers the opponent to the point where they can't do anything. So
Yeah,
I like it.
very cool. All right. We'll
I
move
was
on
gonna
to,
Well, I was gonna
Go
add something. So he says this specifically line about the newer animations. We've talked about it before, but it's crazy how the animations have improved. If you go back to like other interviews and stuff like that, like they say Ghost Rider didn't join the game. Like he almost didn't join the game because they couldn't figure out the fire. And they even talk about it again when Fantastic Four joined the game, when Human Torch, like it was like something that they tried and they just improved on. Same with Namor with the water mechanics. So it's crazy because we're getting new mechanics. We're getting new animations and it's just the amount of characters that we're getting this year are so much better animation wise compared to a couple years ago. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, one of the things that I loved, and it's just like with any animation studio, right? So they talk a lot about it in the Hercules development videos that they've been doing. That many times they're having to develop new technology. Like when Spider-Ham came in, they had to develop the new technology to make him look the way that he looks. And so they're continually developing new technologies in order to meet the goal of the designers. So with that, they're also, systems get more powerful, the phones get more powerful, so they can most of the time, they can handle more of the upgraded graphics and animations. So I'm excited to see what we're gonna have by the end of this year or by the end of next year. So
Yeah. So Brendan had a couple questions. Why are T5B and T2A given out at equal rates on path rewards for 7.1, knowing that you need way more T2A to use your T5B? Anybody want to answer those?
Frenchie says, I can't really say as I did not work on this content.
Okay.
which
And
is
then-
interesting to me.
Yeah.
I know we're about to jump into another one, so which is that the game economy designer doesn't necessarily speak to rewards that are given out on paths.
Yeah, that is. It almost. It kind of speaks. It almost speaks a sense of like reward tone deaf. If he's not the one controlling what rewards are given out, as a senior economy designer, economy is about resources in the game, and if
Yeah.
he's not on command with why resources are being given out, and where they are being given out, the volume, the accessibility. I don't know, that is kind of interesting. Like, why wouldn't he be involved in that
It
specific
almost-
piece of content?
So this is interesting, and this is where it would almost have been great to have him on here, because we could have asked these follow-up questions, but it almost makes me wonder, as the economy designer, he knows that, okay, at this point we can have X amount of resources. So hey, event quest team, here's your lot of resources that you can use how you need. Side quest folks, here's your lot of resources that you can use throughout the year. Story quest, variant content, because each teams are designing different quests. So I'm wondering if it's not that he's not specifically saying what's on each path, but he's giving each team an allotment of what they can use for the year. I don't know.
Or even for a quest necessarily, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would have been a good follow-up question.
Yeah. And then he goes on to ask, why isn't T2A available or a reward in the variants? And he pretty much answers same. I did not work on the variant quests, but I can say that with the changes we made in AQ and the Glory Store, our goal was for you to use the Glory for the resources you need. It was an alternate for you to choose the reward you wanted. How did you guys feel about that?
I mean, we already have generic 2017 rank up gems and variants. So, like, we have 3 generic rank up gems. So then, that's like 12 T2A in general.
Well, and
And
then you
then-
also have the rank 5. I think it came out to a total of 20 equivalent to T2As in there, but you can't apply any to the 6 stars. So I get both sides of that conversation, right?
You have to remember that the not regarding the 5-star 4 to 5 gem, but all of the other rank up gems are year specific, and if you don't have a champion from that year that you need or you are wanting to rank up, then they're essentially useless. So I don't see that as a T2A replacement. It's more like a placeholder,
Yeah.
because it's not really T2A if you're not able to use it.
Yeah, I completely get that.
I agree.
And I'm curious, though, with variant content. See how I was trying to say this. See, variant content is essentially a new version of an old quest. So, are they meant to be the top tier rewards inside of it? Or is it more really to focus on that 5-star roster? And if so, then the T2A is fine. But I'd love to see Deadpool, Loser, whatever, actually have some T2A in there, because with the shift to 6 stars and rank 3s, the community needs it.
Variant content is definitely designed around 455 and 565 champions. It's not made for 6-2 and 6-3s.
Yeah.
Just like that's the nature of the content. Now, Variant 1, you could argue, is designed for maybe those higher level champions, just because at the time, we didn't know what variants were going to look like, and every variant has had a cascading effect of, oh, this is the easiest variant. Oh, no, this is the easiest variant. No, this is the easiest variant. So they definitely got the message when they released Variant 1 that people didn't like this. Now it's kind of it's come to its age where people appreciate it now as like a actually challenging variant, compared to the others, at least. Because there are some variants that are like really straightforward, some of them a little challenging, but Variant 1 is truly the real variant, the real variant content. And it would have been nice to have seen Tier 2 Alpha in that one specifically.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I think if they were going to include Tier 2 Alpha in the variants, I'd want to see one of two things. I'd want to see an increase in variant difficulty, or just don't give us the rank up gems and give us Tier 2 Alpha.
Yeah, because the variants are really, really good at allowing you to rank up champs that you may not have wanted to rank up.
Right.
But with all the buffs that they're doing now, these, those 2017, 2016, 2015
they're going to gain more
gems,
value. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I can guarantee you that I use my variant content to rank up my Black Panther.
Oh yeah, I can name quite a few that I've used rank up gems on. Magic. I plan on using one on Ronin. I used
Howard.
one on Rogue. So there are a lot that have value and are worth it, but it's not. I don't think it's enough to justify the T2A, the lack of T2A yet.
Yeah.
If they keep buffing champions from that era, and they're actually meta relevant, then they're actually going to be pretty solid. But if they keep putting out buffs like Daredevil Hell's Kitchen, then it's not going to be something people are going to be interested in.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll move on to the next question, JX.
Yeah, man. Sorry. All right, so I'm gonna do Marcus's question.
Okay, we're going back up to Marcus. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do Marcus's question. So, I guess I'll respond as Frenchie and say his question. So Marcus, he says, did you have any previous love for Marvel, such as reading the comic books or loving the movies, etc., before working at Kabam? And so Frenchie responds, says, I loved watching the X-Men cartoon growing up. I, of course, as well. And I saw most of the new generation of Marvel movies released before I joined Kabam. I did not know much about obscure characters, but working at MCOC has greatly improved my knowledge of the Marvel Universe. That being said, I always was a big fan of Deadpool.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's cool that he used to watch all the X-Men cartoons. Me too.
Yeah, man, those are the best.
See, now I've got the theme song in my head now.
That's actually my ringtone. I don't know if anyone knows that. So
nice.
I love that, man. It's so good. It's by far my favorite cartoon of all time.
Excellent.
Okay. Yeah, so Sinister has a couple questions here. When can we sell T4CC? He's joking, but it's a good question. If anybody wants to answer that.
Yeah. So Frenchie came back and was like, yeah, the subject comes up often during meetings. It's definitely planned, but we as a community, we're going to have to wait on that. So I can see it. Selling things can kind of sell T4CC, but not for T5CC, and you have to be part of Sigil for it. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but
so I don't know about you guys, but I have like 100 T4CC crystals in my just inventory.
Me too.
I have a lot also.
Yeah, I mean, I can't claim them because then I'll be in overflow and then I'll have to
Yeah.
use them, and I can't
Mhm.
sell them for T5CC. Um, when do you guys think that there could be a possible opening for selling T4 class catalysts?
I mean, I think it's going to come sooner rather than later.
I mean, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Feel free to jump in. I mean, it's we got the T5B and T3A, coming in. That's going to be more the focus. Whereas before, the T5CC was really the big focus. That's what everybody needed. That was the new catalyst that was on the block. That's where Kabam could make their money by doing deals, providing content that was hard to make you spend your units unless you're MSD to complete it, to get it. But now that we're starting to see T5 or T6B and T3A coming into the contest, those are going to be the new money makers for Kabam, and I think we're going to start to see
Right.
T4CC being able to be sold for T5CC not to be that big of a deal, because what's it going to be, 160 shards? You're going to end up having to sell so many just to do it anyway. So.
It's going to come to the point where someone who bought every single offer that included T6B and T3A, by the time Act 7 concludes, they'll be able to take a 6-star to rank 4. And
Yeah.
by that time, by the end of Act 7, if T5CC is coming in larger quantities, larger than they are now, like for people who don't run Map 7, you usually get 20 to 30% T5CC per month, given that there's not variants or any other content that's dropped. So you get roughly 20 to 30% per month. One of those is a Nexus if you do Cavalier. I mean, if you're not doing Cavalier, you're not getting any. But
Right.
one of those is a Nexus, and then 2 of them are crystals. They're either 10% or in the form of 2% or 5%, something like that. People who do Map 7, they get a lot more T5CC, so they get larger amounts of fully formed catalysts, which means more rank 3s. Now, if that level of T5CC kind of moves over to the general public, the people who aren't doing Map 7 but are at that level where they want rank 3s, if that becomes the norm where people are getting, instead of 30 or 20, we're getting nearly a full catalyst every month, then I think we might see the ability to sell T4CC. But only then, when we're getting so close every month that we could form a catalyst, is when I think we could see it.
And I think when there's a T5CC daily quest like we have at the T4CC,
That'll never happen. That'll never happen. No way they're gonna put that
There's no way.
resource in for free. No
There's
way.
no way. There's no way
You-
that's going to happen until they end
You
up.
don't think that the rank?
T5 more relevance.
Well, I was going to say the rank 5, 6 stars, but eventually, that they're going to require T6C. So at that point, yeah.
Eventually with rank 5, 6 stars, but that's like way. I know we're starting to scratch
I
the
know.
surface of what rank 4s could look like, but that's a conversation way in the future, way beyond, and I don't even want to think about like what that could do to the game if people just started farming that, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, let's be honest. We've got probably about another 2 years till, at least 2 years until the idea
Easily.
of T6C
Yeah.
is introduced. So, yeah.
All right, so we'll move on to the next one. What
So-
in-game content do you feel is the most overlooked as impacting the in-game economy?
Okay, so this was you're missing out on potions here, revives here, units here, etc. So this is all about what a lot of people do, and that's resource farming. So his response was, there is no game mode designed to quote unquote farm resources like potions and ROL. Nonetheless, I think a lot of players undervalue what incursions can bring in terms of resources. And you don't have to spend 10 hours a week playing it to obtain the most of the rewards there. Other than that, there's nothing really that you guys don't already know. So I found that interesting.
Anybody want to touch on anything else on that?
Well, I mean, Incursions actually has a lot of artifacts. You can get like 20 to 25 or something around there for just a 10 zone sector 8 and 10 zone sector 7, and that's about 70% of those free 2000 6-star shards, which is actually pretty good if you ask me. And
Yeah.
on top of that, you have all the 6-star golds you get, all the 6-star shards you get from the milestones, the 5-star shards, and then the gold added on.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my roster has definitely improved, getting 6 stars a lot faster because of these rewards. I always race with my brother because he plays the game, so does my dad, and so me and my brother will definitely do incursions every time to make sure we hit those milestones, get those 6-star shards, and it's really good. Like I really enjoy it.
Okay. So,
Yeah, and I
go
think
ahead.
sorry. I think it's interesting though that they are aware that people know that you can go out and find, revives or find, potions and things of that nature. And I like the fact that they didn't cut out. They have done that before. They have removed. There was a Act 2 quest, I believe, that I think it was well known that every single time
Always
you went
spawn to
into it,
revive. Yeah.
yeah, it always farmed, and they went in and fixed it. So it wasn't just a random thing here and there that, hey, it has a good likelihood of it. This was a six-step quest that took 6 energy, that if you had your 4 or 5-star, you were just bowling through it and you were getting a revive every single time. So
Every single time, exactly.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So in that one I could see where, hey, okay, let's remove that one, but the other ones, okay, we'll make them work for it. If they want to go out and do that, they're gonna have to, run, almost a full energy to run through this one to get a revive. And does that make sense when the amount of units it takes to refresh your energy, if you want to continue to do this over and over? It's almost close to it, so you just gotta have to wait it out. So, whereas if you were taking 6 energy every time, you could do that multiple times, grab tons of them. So, I think I'm glad that they're leaving it in some places, but yeah, I think it was a kind of a broken one to have it that every single time. But
You want to remember when you were able to farm revives in Realm of Legends?
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello there.
Hey, there's Slayer.
Hi.
Slayer of Gods.
I'm fashionably late.
Slayer?
My apologies.
Now, are we gonna break the podcast because we have both Slayer of Gods and MSD on here? We're not gonna start like this fight where we have to put y'all in corners or anything like that, right?
Well, I call us truce. How about you, MSD? Are we good for this one time?
He's on
Okay,
mute.
exactly. Fun. Okay, he's on mute. Got it. All right. Well, I'm gonna take that as a yes. I'll take it as a yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, Jax had a couple of questions. He says, "What was your role when working at Kabam, and what were the changes you and the team made to the economy?"
Yeah, so I'll answer as Frenchie. I just kind of wanted to know like what he actually did, because there's a lot of stuff we don't know about Kabam, so I wanted to get some information. So honestly, this is what he said. He said, "I personally worked on early story content, that being Act 1 and Act 2 reworks. Basically other early story rework as planned. Other story rework is planned. I left them my design." But it takes time to integrate as we wanted bigger changes. So that's pretty cool that there's more rework content coming soon. I'm guessing. Obviously,
And they
Act 3.
also talked about that. They talked about that on the roadmap.
Yeah, and this
Yeah.
pre-alluded the roadmap, so that's kind of cool. You
Yeah.
dropped that early.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's really cool, man. I really wish. Something I'm curious what you guys think about this is that this rework content, we don't get the rewards if we've already completed it, correct?
Unless you start a new account.
Yes. So like, how do you guys? I don't know if they've talked about this before, but how do you guys feel about this? Getting I guess the arena has changed, so you're not really investing into low tier characters anymore. But I was just curious what everyone thinks about I'm curious how good they'll be.
I don't think it really matters at a certain point. Like if you're still progressing and you need to rank up lower level champions for like variant 3 or I'm sorry, variant 4 or something like that, or there's a special event where we need lower level champions, then maybe some people will notice it. But for the most part, unless the rewards are like insane amounts of units that we're missing out on, I don't think we're really gonna miss out on
Yeah.
tier 3 Nexus selectors or a 3-star Nexus crystal. Like that's not really gonna matter. The only thing that would matter is large amounts of units. That
Yeah.
I feel like we would miss out on that, but everything else doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
it really matters when they change current content to
Can I
either
say
make it
something else
easy
about
or
what MST just said?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think what also would really matter is if we're missing out on large chunks of ISO like tier 6 or something. But I highly doubt that they're going to put that in the early act content.
Yeah. That ISO is way too high for 3-star champs.
Well, I mean, in even 4-star Nexus crystals, we're missing all of that also.
Yeah, but again, that
Yeah.
comes to the same conclusion as like, do we really need a 4-star Nexus crystal when we're done with Act 7? Like, is that something we as an end game community really are missing out on? If early players in Act 3 are getting 4-star Nexus crystals, that's fantastic. That's going to help their progression so much. We don't really need to care about that anymore. And that's not to offend the players at that level. It's just to prove that, we're not relying on 4-star champs anymore. They don't really matter as much for pretty much anything anymore for people at the level of doing Act 7. So I'd like to gracefully disagree with the claim of us missing out on 4-star Nexus crystals being a big deal.
So
I
I
was just
think
saying that because of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no. Here's the way that I look at it. If you have a new player that's coming in that's completing Act 1 through 4, they're not suddenly going to leapfrog existing players that have been playing for 5 years and have completed Act 7. I think what your point is there access to a lot of ISO, which helps rank up current 6 stars and 5 stars that they're getting a lot of 4 stars. It's not necessarily that the 4 stars are going to help. Those 4-star duplicates with the ISO bricks will help ranking up your higher ranked champion. That what you were kind of getting at?
Yes, that is what I was getting at.
Yeah. But I don't see any new player going Act 1 through 4, even Act 1 through 5, and leapfrogging somebody that's completed 7.2. Even if they change the rewards, I don't think Kabam's gonna up the rewards dash so much that you're gonna have a beefier roster by completing Act 5 once they've made these updates to the quest than somebody who's been playing for 5 years.
I agree. Jax, you want to, or go ahead, Slayer.
Sorry, I just wanted to say, if they are continuing to revise the earlier acts, I really hope they cut down like 206 paths out of Act 4.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's I don't know if you guys agree with this, but I think it's kind of a shame that the game kind of works in a way where you 100% complete the content and you don't ever have to touch it ever again. I think, like the Karina challenges recently, I think we should have a reason to go back. There should be like some special, like regular objectives, like different stuff that comes along and makes you want to go back and like earn stuff that's like relevant to your current progression. It could be based on your progression, like story title or whatever. And they could base their rewards off of that. But I think there should be like little regular challenges. I'm not talking just like arena challenges, but like a daily, maybe weekly thing that makes you want to go back and return to the older acts, because it's like you complete it and that's it. You don't really mess with it anymore. And I think that's kind of a shame because there's a lot of stuff you can do in stuff like Act 5 through 7.
No, yeah, I
See,
totally
that's
agree.
what I was-
Especially if they're gonna rework the earlier acts. Why
Mhm.
not have like a progression based like Karina's challenge for the Cavalier players to go take their 3 stars through Act 4 or or their 2 stars through Act 3.
Well, and
why not?
I even gave out an idea a long time ago. I think I was saying it to Cam about, if you've got like an event quest or, story quest, whatever it may be, that, you've got your completion and exploration, but maybe there's a third tier. And I think this is something where the Karina's challenges could come in. And MSD, you're going to love this. you're absolutely going to love this. But going back and completing certain content with champions, but hey, without using items. I mean, that's some of the biggest pushes that we see on, from some of the content creators is going back and creating, hey, we're going to do an LOL run itemless, or we're going to do, an Act 5 chapter, whatever, itemless. So adding in some of that kind of refreshes the content, but you got to put restrictions. If you're going to take Acts, 6-star rank 3s into Act 5, well, yeah, you probably couldn't do it itemless, but, look at some different content, put those restrictions on there, but also have that ability that, if you can do this itemless, that's a pure skill accomplishment many times. So,
Yeah. Jay, actually want to keep reading the answer?
Yes, let's do it, man. Okay, so he also said that he made a controversial change to removing the act completion rewards. He says he wanted to be more generous to players who could not finish all the content, but he underestimated the perception power a big chunk of rewards have on the experience.
yep. So what he's talking about, we've had it for a few months, is it used to be that there was, a big completion reward and then there was a big exploration reward. And now it's really along the lines that they've removed one of the big chunks and they've spread it out throughout the quest. So if you're not able to complete the, all 6 chapters of Cavalier 1 month and you're only able to complete 4, well, in the past, you missed out on all those rewards. And what the change did and what it brought it into was spread it out over the quest, as opposed to you only get this if you 100% this. So yeah, I think it's really that perception of, when I'm done, hey, I get everything at once, where you're not really losing out on everything. It's just the way that it's delivered to you differently.
Yeah, and I want to quickly say, I think Act 7 follows a lot of this philosophy as well. You look at the rewards, and it doesn't really seem like much, but if you look in each quest, there is so many rewards per quest. It's like a couple hundred units. There's a lot of gold. There's you can get a tier 5 CC, or not CC, God, I wish. You can get a tier 5 basic like every quest. You can get a tier 2 alpha every quest. It's a nice stack. It just doesn't look as good, but every quest, it has a lot of stuff in it, I think. I like being able to be like, oh, I'm so close to a 6-star, I'm just going to do this path now and get it, or hey, I need a tier 5 basic, So I think it kind of follows that trend, and it's kind of rewarding, and I kind of like that you can play it like that, do one path and get that reward, as opposed to exploring the entire thing and getting it at the end.
What's your thoughts, MSD?
I'm in complete agreement with Slayer. I think that philosophy is great, and I really can't wait to see it employed in future content as long as it's done well.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's not too scattered, I think it'll be perceived very, very well. It'll be received really well. But if it's scattered too much, it's not going to look that promising, and it's going to be a lot more tedious. So it really depends on how much of what they add in certain stuff. So yeah, that's kind of my closing thoughts on that.
Yeah, it was people being able to open up the rewards tab and see everything they can get once they 100% it. Now you have to open up a few more sections and scroll a little bit more to be able to see everything. But it does reward people that maybe are progressing, that can't complete all content right now, that they're not cut off from all the rewards until they're able to complete everything. So
100%.
Yeah.
So he goes on to say he created the Summoner Sigil. It's the biggest value for your dollar, but he understands why players would feel it's not worth it. It is, though.
I love the sigil. I do it. It just
Yeah, I buy the sigil. So,
and I look at it, even if I spend nothing else on the game, think about how much entertainment this game provides to you. It's, you think about, you could go out, you can hang out, you sit at home, play. I'm giving $10 to a company so that they can keep the servers on. I know that's not my $10 just doing it, but it's a little bit of hey, I'm getting a lot of rewards, but also, to me, it's worth it. This company's provided years of entertainment, even frustratingly at times. But it's years of entertainment, and just like with anything, it's ups and downs that you like, you don't like, but you've still stuck with it. I mean, most of us haven't missed a day, and that kind of engagement with the game. Hey, here's my $10 a month, thanks. And I'm getting something. So
Yeah. He goes on to say, but in a more general matter, I created some tools to make my fellow designers' life easier. I was also reviewing with some other people everything that was released in-game. Monthly rewards offers AQ and AW, and basically everything that came out of the door. When something is released in MCOC, it's never a one-man job. We have a bunch of people giving their feedback to make sure it's consistent with our goals. I mean, I think it shows, to be honest. They do a pretty good job of keeping everything balanced.
yeah, for sure.
So he goes on to say, we have made a lot of economy changes over the past couple of years, but most of them are rolled out slowly over time. So you don't have to feel a drastic change, but it's always for the better.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Like, I never really feel economy changes as soon as they're made. I definitely, looking back at like 2017, when I remember most about the game in 2017, it's just how crazy it's changed since then. So I for sure agree.
I mean, you can definitely see it from variant 1 to variant, what are we on now, 6? 7?
7.
Yeah, 7.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, now, as an example, like, I know gold it kind of still is a big problem for some people, but years ago it was a massive problem. But now you have all these variants, they give out millions of gold, you got these new arena crystals, you got incursions, you got, more arenas that give you more battle chips, which get you more gold. They slowly like change the resource influx and stuff, even like duping more 4-stars to sell the ISO and get more gold that way. And it really shifts a lot, and like every player has like a specific route, I think, is how they designed it. So you're always searching for something, but by the time you get that thing, you're gonna be draining on something else, right?
Yeah.
But they do put a lot of thought into that as well. I think the economy is probably like one of the most important things with the game, because if that's not balanced, nothing is. You can rank up wherever you want, or you can rank nobody up, etc. Like, it would break the game if the economy wasn't balanced.
Yeah, for sure. So JX goes on to ask the next question. Were there any improvements you wanted to make for the game that you didn't get to make?
Yeah, so he says, yes, tons. Mostly because we are lacking time. Keeping the monthly release schedules, quests, characters, etc. takes a lot of time. I can't read the rest because someone's on top of it. Okay, thank you. A lot of time and a lot of people, so it's hard sometimes to develop features that we really want. But I can't reveal any of that stuff, as some of them might still be on the pipeline, though the team is doing a great job prioritizing, and we've been more and more conscious about what you guys want. So yeah, I was really excited to get this answer, because this is it's really cool. It definitely reveals a lot about what goes into the economy, what goes into making certain changes, especially the future of the game. So what does everyone think?
This is again kind of a prequel to the roadmap, listening to some of the things that we've been wanting. So it's cool to see that he was talking about it then before we even knew that another roadmap was on the way.
Yeah, and I do like that he wasn't giving any specifics. I mean, it would have been, kind of cool to get those spoilers, and anyone could have just said, "Hey, it's my last day. Here's all the treasures." But he was respectful to the company and didn't do that, and I like that. So we got teased with it, and it's cool to see some of those coming back out on the roadmap, like you guys were saying. So.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together now.
It's all coming together. It was Agatha never mind, I won't do that. Okay.
But that's really how I felt. He was teasing a roadmap the whole time with his questionnaire, yet he didn't tell any of us. And
yeah.
Oh, you cut off, Titan.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. I thought you said
No,
and.
he
at the end.
just stopped.
and.
I said and then I stopped.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. All right. So I'll read MSC's questions and he can answer. So MSC's first question was, how is it justified to sell T5CC selectors but refuse to put them in any other content up until 7.1 while proclaiming that they will be rare?
So Frenchie, what he said was, designers are not here to make money, so when we make a resource rare, it is because we have a reason behind it that is beyond selling it. That being said, in a free-to-play game, spending money means either skipping time or getting some quality of life. A selector is a little bit of both, and now the T5CC selectors are starting to ramp up. Having the agency to choose the color is considered more of a quality of life than anything. There's two sides to this answer, because calling a selector a quality of life is kind of undervaluing the significance of what a selector is. Selector is essentially allowing you to choose your ticket to Thronebreaker, so calling it quality of life isn't necessarily what I consider a selector. I think it's more of a luxury to choose your own rank ups. A quality of life is something like, being able to purchase any T4CC you want, because T4CC is not as valuable as T5CC. I would consider that a quality of life. But I also completely understand the viewpoint of, it's not because they want to make money. There's more reasons to selling it first or releasing it first. There's always another reason to do that. So I understand that aspect of it. But the quality of life part of it, I understand it could be considered a quality of life to choose the color, as he says, of the T5CC that you want, but it's a lot more than that when you're talking about the road to Thronebreaker and being able to choose, exactly what champion you want to take up, and that kind of ties into the next question that I ended up asking him.
Yeah, so I'll answer. So I'll read the question right now. So why was the Abyss Tier 5 Catalyst situation so randomized? If you're willing to do Nexus T5 now, what was the problem with doing it for peak content? It adds another factor of RNG on the road to Thronebreaker and could potentially leave any Abyss runner still at the Cavalier level. Even in 100%, we are still at the mercy of RNG. No selective for 100%, nothing. You gave us Nexus crystals, amazing by the way. But why not let everyone have 100% the content you designed to be the hardest? Make one rank up of their choosing by letting them have exactly catalyst they want. Was the Abyss Nexus supposed to solve this somehow?
So Frenchie, he wasn't necessarily involved with the feature, is what he's saying in the response. Exactly what he said was, you have to place the content when it was released. At that time, there were no rank 3 champions, or only very, very few. He was not the owner of the feature, as I said, but he knows that Abyss development was extremely difficult, and nothing went as planned, which is interesting. The rewards have increased several times, as it was supposed to be live way earlier than it was. Also, another interesting thing. He finishes by saying, as time goes on, the resources become easier to obtain. That is why we're doing Nexus is now to open the gate to 6-star rank 3s to more players. So it's interesting to see that Abyss was kind of a dumpster fire, is almost like how he's describing it. Nothing went as planned. Things got changed. It was released way later than expected. It seemed like it was a really difficult thing to develop this content, both in terms of the fights and the challenge itself, as well as the release and the rewards of it. But what his answer essentially tells me is he wasn't necessarily involved in the rewards of that content. Again, kind of interesting to me that the economy designer wasn't involved with a piece of content that rewards the peak level of resources in the game. Yeah. He mentioned you have to place the content when it was released. I understand that. At the time when Abyss came out, I believe there was maybe 1 or 2 known rank 3 6-stars. I know the first ever rank 3 6-star was a Sunspot, owned by either a Chinese or a Japanese player. And that screenshot got shared around quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And that was like the first ever rank 3. We had never seen any rank 3 before. And then slowly but surely a few more came out. There was, a Doom, and then there was a Ghost, and few started to roll out here and there, but it was not nearly as many as there are now. So I understand why they wouldn't put a selector in then, but just gating the Thronebreaker progression behind RNG isn't something I necessarily agree with. Since they did give us the Nexus, I don't understand why they couldn't give us at least a Nexus T5CC. And they let us choose the T5CC first, so then that could dictate either if we want to change the Nexus decision or we continue with our original plan. If they're not going to give us a full selector, a Nexus would have been fine as well. Now we see that in the Cav difficulty. We see a Nexus T5. So chances are you're going to get at least something that you want.
Yeah. I don't think we have to rehash out the fact of how many people were upset about the 6-star rank 3 decision for the Thronebreaker gate. I can, unpopular opinion, I can see kind of where they were coming from, to ensure that people had the mature rosters before they're getting that. But whether you agree with that or not, I agree with you, MSD, that if you were going to make a progression to a next level based off of being able to rank up a champion, when most of the champions in game, the rank up resources are very RNG based, it should have had a more robust way to be able to pick somebody that you want to.
Right.
I'll give an example. I'm not in a high prestige alliance. Prestige doesn't matter. It does not matter to my alliance. It's not something that we're fighting for, top tier rewards or anything of that nature. Yet, it was either Cold Obsidian or Silver Surfer that I was going to take to make myself Thronebreaker. So I have a very nice Silver Surfer, and I went back and watched the video. Thank you, MSD, but that's not who I would have wanted to rank up. But based off of RNG, I had to. So.
They're forcing your hand when it comes to Thronebreaker because the things you miss out on are just way too valuable. Eventually, in a cumulative manner, the things you miss out on way too valuable. So, it's a difficult topic because without having him here to kind of ask a follow-up question about it, you can't really get anywhere. You have to take what you're given and see what you can do. But yeah, it's I'll always have that resentment for Abyss. I love the fights and I love the concept of it, but the reward structure, I'll always have. It won't always sit well with me, and given what Frenchie said and given all those factors, some I agree with, some I don't. I still think that there was more room for improvement, and if that meant pushing the content back even further, I would have been completely fine with that.
Okay. Yeah, so now we've got some questions from Slayer. What is your personal stance on potion and or revive farming?
Frenchie said, I suggested multiple times to remove the potion farming. Not because I don't want you to get free potions, but simply because it's boring and annoying content. And I feel like you should have another way, more fun, and more control to get there. We started increasing the amount of potions you get in side quests, but it's just an experimental phase to get some data. But the team does want to remove it because they know how much it helps you guys going through super hard content.
How do you guys feel about removing potions from quests?
Well, I mean, if they remove it from Realm of Legends and put it elsewhere, I would be perfectly fine with that. Because potion farming is so boring. But
I
don't think I'd be fine with that.
No, I wouldn't either. If they added new content like Alliance Raids or some new game mode that one of the new game modes they announced where they added a reliable way to continuously revive or farm revives in a more fun and engaging way, then I would probably be fine with them taking Realm or not. Well, not Realm of Legends, but like Act 4 and those quests that they farm in. I would be fine with that, I think, but I don't really agree that they should take them out to an extent because I feel like players should have a choice between those two game modes. Like for gold farming, some people go with Arena, some people go with Incursions. People should have that choice. They shouldn't just take it out. But yeah, if they had like a new game mode to dedicate to grinding those resources in a much more fun and less monotonous way, I would be down for that.
If they added the semi-annual or the I don't even know what, like the semi-monthly event, the Deadpool potion farming thing. It costs you no energy, and it's like fighting, rank 1 4-star champions. You get potions from that. If that was like a weekly thing and it reset every week, I think that would be something interesting, something to mess around with. If they brought that back as like, you reach once you beat Act 4, you're able to enter this quest, and you can just permanently, redo it and stuff like that. I think that would be something to mess around with because, what is it? In totality, you get like 10 potions and 2 revives if you do the entire thing. So it wouldn't break the game if it was a weekly thing. Like, no way. I think that could be something incorporated into the game that would just it would ease a lot of the Realm of Legends bore, like the Realm of Legends boringness, I guess, the bore of Realm of Legends, just because no one really wants to be in Realm for 3 hours, and I understand that, but the grind is worth it for potions. But if they added the Deadpool, the Hall of Healing event, that's what it's called. I was blanking on the name. I think that would be something that people would enjoy as a monthly thing or a weekly thing.
As long as there was like unlimited farming, because there's no limit to how many potions and revives you can farm now. If they put a cap on that, people would riot, like a weekly cap or something. So I'm not sure how they would structure it, but as long as they don't take the limit out or the limitless aspect of it out, I wouldn't really care personally. And I don't think any of us want to be in Realm anymore.
All they would need to do is reintroduce the quest, maybe bump up the rewards a little bit. So, like, let's say you do the entire thing, you get 12 or 13 potions and 3 revives, but you can only do it once a week. You can't do it every day. You can't do it every 3 days. It resets. It starts on Monday, and it resets on Monday, and that's it. From the entire thing, you get like 13 or 15 potions, and you can get 2 to 3 revives, and that's it. And then you do it again next week and next week. And that would introduce a reliable way to farm revives on top of other ways to farm revives in quests. It would give you like the option of, I don't really want to go grind out Act 4 right now. Let me just do this really quick. It can take me 20 minutes to do the entire thing. And there we go. I have 3 revives, and I can get 3 more next week, and I have some potions in my stash again. So I think introducing the Halls of Healing, instead of making it a special event, introducing it as something that players can actually use on a weekly basis, I think that'd be something definitely they should consider. And I might try and contact a Kabam member about that.
Or even if it was like a daily event, like the daily Catalyst quest. You could get like 2 or 3 potions and 1 revive every couple days or something like that. That would be cool.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Anyone else have any thoughts on that?
I mean, personally, I would think that 1 week is probably too much. I would probably take it down to like 2 or 3 days, because chances are that people would still be farming more than people would probably be farming more than that in a day, and if they got rid of it in Realm of Legends, then chances are that people would be making less overall, and people would be rioting.
Yeah, that's why I say make it an alternative and don't remove it, because I don't really see a reason to remove that. And
I don't think anything should be removed. Like Slayer said, I think it should just be like an alternative, and maybe, like you said, Titan, maybe 7 days is too long. Maybe 3 or 4 days is more realistic. But if they were to put this concept into works, I think making it an alternative is something it should be, not a full-on replacement for what Realm is, because they can't change Realm. Realm they have to leave alone. They can't do anything to it because people are going to be very upset that their potions are gone if they do something to Realm. So they already changed it once. Can't farm revives anymore. So they have to leave the potions alone. The only thing that I would like to see changed is if they maybe increase the value of the potions, but they're not going to do that. So,
or if they give us more for beating a fight, but I highly doubt they would do that.
All right. So the next question Slayer asks is the recent buffs to Cavalier difficulty rewards were a very positive and welcomed addition. Was this always planned? Slayer, you want to read your answer?
Yeah, so this is in reference to not the controversial change where they kind of spread the exploration rewards, but they buffed the rewards. They like added more stuff to it, which is good. So he comes in and says yes and no. The Cavalier difficulty was a big task for multiple reasons. So when I designed the rewards, I kept some leeway for myself to increase the rewards in case we could not get to a quest where we wanted it to be, as it is hard to judge the difficulty of a quest before you get it in your hands. It's often easier than we think it would be. After multiple iterations, the team felt the quest difficulty was at a good spot, so we simply assessed the difficulty and knew that the rewards did not justify the effort.
Shit. Hang on. Let me stop you. Craig left.
Yeah, I'm recording.
Jay's
Oh,
recording.
okay, cool.
Yeah,
My bad.
I missed the first 5 minutes though, but
It's all right. We can
re-record an intro. That's about it.
No, okay, all right, good. We're good. Sorry.
All right, no worries. He said after multiple iterations, the team felt the quest difficulty was at a good spot, so they adjusted the rewards because they assessed that it wasn't worth. The rewards didn't meet the effort, basically. So that he's referring to what remember Kabam John's posts, where they were kind of tweaking the difficulty and stuff, and like sharing the intent and stuff, and they realized the rewards didn't adequately meet the difficulty. So
I would say for me personally, I don't think it was difficulty that wasn't rewarding. I think it was
time
effort.
investment. Yeah, time investment.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that.
Because Cav isn't hard. There are some nodes like the Spidey in this monthly Cav kind of annoyed people, but you just gotta read nodes, man. Like,
yeah,
it's not that hard. But for the most part, Cav is not that challenging. And I don't think it was a standpoint of, oh, we need to increase rewards because this is hard and the rewards aren't justifying it. The time it takes to do Cav with certain node variations or certain class variations, it's just a grind, and no one wants to do it. Like there were a few months back, Seaton and all of the, or not all, but a lot of the YouTubers who would usually stream Cavalier, they just weren't doing it because no one cared about it. No one wanted to do it. And after a few months of that, I feel like that's when the light bulb went off in Kabam's head. They were kind of thinking to themselves, all right, well, if our top guys aren't doing this, then what are we doing with this content? So, yeah, it wasn't a matter of difficulty. For me personally, it's a matter of time. It takes a lot of time to do Cav, and to do all of Cav, however many energy refills it takes, however many hours it takes in totality, to still have a random, 10% T5CC, doesn't feel very good. And now we're getting more 6-star shards, more 5-star shards, and a Nexus. So.
Yeah, and the T5CC is like a 3 out of 6 now, so you have like a 50-50. Well, not a 50. I don't know the rate, but it's like you can get 3 different. It's a Nexus, right? Like that's what you're referring to. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
you have a much better chance at getting what you want.
Yeah, it's still RNG, but a bit better. And I'm down with that. Just the way it was perceived by the community, I think they saw he was leaving, and then they got buffed, and it's like maybe that was his last hurrah,
His like the hero's final triumph.
Yeah, it was his last wish, So that was cool. That he did that before getting out. I know it had to go through multiple approvals and stuff, but I'm glad they buffed it. It's very well received. It's still monotonous. I hope they cut down on a couple paths maybe to make it less grindy, because 3 energy per tile with 7 quests, that's a lot. And chapter 3 is very, very strenuous. So if they could cut that down, that's fine. But the reward bump, very, very good. So it was good to see that they reassessed it and kind of went back and tweaked it. People didn't really like the node changes that much, but I'm glad they're not just releasing it and then not looking at it again. They're kind of keeping an eye on it, which is a good thing.
Can I say something also?
Yeah, for sure. Go for it.
I think that the other thing was that they were also trying to not limit rosters as hard. Like in the original one, we had Diss Track, we had Buffed Up, and then
Yeah.
What else did we have? The next couple of months we had this new science one that I really hate. I don't know why I hate it, and Tough as Nails, I think that's the name of it. That's the
Yeah,
cosmic one.
the
Where
nodes were really, really restrictive. Yeah.
They were just
They were
really
bad at first. The
Mhm.
the buffed up one especially. That one was torture, man, for people who didn't have the right champ.
Yeah. It was rough, especially when they changed the philosophy of rewards in there to benefit those people with less expansive rosters. I felt like the nodes really contradicted that intent.
kind of how I'm feeling. The nodes kind of kept people from getting the rewards in a specific way, so people
Yeah.
were really kind of mad when Kabam buffed the rewards because they couldn't get it, and then all of a sudden Kabam just changed the nodes.
Yeah, it was weird because the nodes were so restrictive, and the rewards were meant to be gained by people who didn't have rosters to meet those restrictions. So, in a way, it was very counterproductive, and I'm glad they kind of reassessed that. I still think there are some changes that need to be made, but
Yeah, I like the
overall,
fact that they are doing different
yeah,
nodes, but some of the nodes can be restrictive. So, and I get that, yeah. But I do like that they're changing it up, because if it's going to be the same diss track every single month, it gets kind of boring, right? So we all like the idea of new content or mixing it up or having a mix between the nodes. But yeah, if you get back into that super restrictive content and node combinations that you've got to have a very mature roster to be able to do it, then it's not fun content.
And there's one I hate. I think it's primarily just due to the fact that, well, a ghost will do it faster than the science champ that is supposed to be used for that quest would.
Ghost breaks everything, so.
All right, Jay, you want to read the next couple questions there?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we just talked about the tier 5 CC select 100% Cavalier, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question is, so Slayer asks, what do you think would come after 6-star rank 5 champions? Gear or 7 stars?
Slayer.
Okay, so he said the team is working on it, but I have no idea what is going to be next, as nothing was set in stone when I left. So I mentioned gear, so called it.
Relics.
Well, I'm a profit. No, yeah, gear. Very interesting. We don't know much about it. I think they're still structuring it, but I feel like after 6-star rank 5s, that'll be the next step. I asked a lot of questions here throughout this because I really wanted to pick his brain. Like, it was my last opportunity. So I apologize, but also great answers. So he didn't know, and it wasn't really his department anyway to know that. But considering he was the lead economy designer, I think he would know about the resource allocation and where those would go with like the future of champion investment. So like, red stars like they do in Strike Force, or like gear or 7 stars or something. There's always going to be something in the future, because they used to say there'd never be 6 stars, and here we are. So that's just about it.
I think we could have an entire conversation on the idea of the gear / relics, and I know there's a lot of people that they hear the term gear and they think of a failed experiment overseas that they had with that. But I here's something I haven't heard anyone talking about. But this idea of the relic system being able to add additional abilities to your champion. We kind of already had that in game, and I'm not talking about masteries. At the very
synergies, man.
Well, synergies, absolutely. That's exactly what the synergies are. Except if you think about synergy ability without having to have the synergy partner, I think that's kind of the idea that they would be going through with relics. But yeah, we could get into whole entire conversations about paywalls and how those are going to be introduced, and we could have 2 hours on that one. So
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's save that for
yeah,
another
save that for
time.
another time. Yeah.
I can also see Relics being used as like a second signature ability or something. But
Yeah, I can see that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
like
good
the Infinity Stones, how it buffed up the original Avengers a couple years ago.
Oh, I love those.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
are
That was so cool.
Yeah, that was so awesome. Or even the way you kind of saw some stuff with little Stevie, being able to
the
buff him
symbiote,
up.
Mhm.
I think we're seeing ideas and things that they've been trying. And one of the interviews that I listened to, it's one of the Hercules dev videos. It's like they don't want to develop anything that's only going to be used one time because it's a waste of
for
resources.
sure. Yeah,
So anything that we
100%.
see in game that's that's unique. We haven't seen that before. We'll see it again eventually because they've invested.
Like roots and stuff like that. That hasn't surfaced yet. I think they're still working on it. But like root, for example, and AOE and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Area of effect, stuff like that. They're definitely working on that more. So I know that'll surface again. I know not everyone liked that either. That's also another discussion entirely.
We'll have another podcast on that. The goods and bads of the potentials.
Yeah, it's definitely a tall question. All right, so the next one. Is there a chance? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So, is there a chance to get T5CC cap will be increased? Some summoners, Karate Mike, as example, have too many of one class, but no champions they're willing to invest those resources in. Will champion buffs solve this issue, and will it be fast enough?
He goes on to say, Catalyst cap increases when new ranks are created. As a rule of thumb, it's 2 to 3 times the max amount you need for a rank up. For instance, if you need maximum 3 tier 3 CC for a rank up, so the cap should be between 6 and 9. So I think that's interesting. I didn't really think of that when I asked it, but I guess by the time we get 6-star rank 4s, we'll see an increase in the tier 3 class catalyst cap, because I know that's an issue for a lot of people because the champions you get are RNG related. It's for the catalyst, so you got people like Karate Mike who are pulling, having tier 5 skill catalysts in their stash, and then no one really to use them on. So I'm hoping by the time that is still an issue, like a lot of the champions are buffed. So you have someone that's actually reliable to use it on, like Buff Moon Knight.
I think that's a cool rule of thumb that they have there that I don't think I've ever heard that anywhere of 2 to 3 times the max amount you need for a rank up. So that's interesting. Makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
because when a new catalyst is introduced, a new rank is introduced, and when that's introduced, what was I going to say? You're going to need more of that catalyst, which would warrant an increase in the cap. So that makes sense.
Yeah. All right.
All right, I guess so. For the next one.
Yep.
Is there a chance that there will be an additional tier of the Summoner Sigil? What is the future of the Sigil?
Okay. Titan, do you want to take this one?
It is not planned right now, but we never know what can happen.
I guess let's talk 30 minutes about this answer, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm waiting for not this next question, but the one after it, because I think that's one that we'll talk for 30 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I'm not gonna drag on about this, but I know it has been speculated by a lot of people they'll release like a VIP Summoner Sigil where it's like $30 a month or something, and you get like more stuff.
Get out
I hope they don't. I hope they don't.
Crazy.
No
No.
That'll
so,
kill the game.
It would be so unbalanced. I don't like it, so I hope they don't do that.
Yeah.
You conspiracy theorists.
All right, so how do you determine the balance of resources in game? Do you weigh certain resources and their amounts against each other? Do you base this on respective content? How much collaboration does that require with other devs?
So
that was a lot. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. I really wanted to get in the meat and potatoes with this one. So he goes on to say, on a giant game like MCOC, you have to collaborate with the other devs as it is hard to keep track of everything. But it all comes down to how fast we want to progress the commitment / difficulty / intentions of those different game modes and how much you spend on the game. Originally, we never intended for you to play everything every month. We wanted to give you a choice in which mode you want to play. But turns out players usually want to get all the rewards possible. Go figure. So we had to adapt this behavior. To try and not burn you out. This includes changes in gameplay and economy. So that's interesting. They intended us not to play everything, but us, the overachievers, had to. So now they're trying to make sure we don't burn out. So I think that plays a huge role in like resource allocation and where they decide to spread things out, because if they spread things out too far, people are going to want to play too many modes and then they'll get burnt out and then not play. So if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys have anything to add.
No, yeah, go ahead.
I just think it's cool that they're trying not to burn us out, because they know it's just too much content we have to do.
Yeah.
They know.
Well, they want us to. They want us to play the game. So if we're not playing the game, they don't.
I mean, next month we have Summer of Pain and Grandmaster's Gauntlet. And Summer of Pain's going to stretch out for 3 months.
Man.
So
Yeah.
that's a lot of content.
Yeah, let's be honest here. When we sit here, we go, yeah, it's good that they don't want to burn us out, and not everyone's going to play the same content. And then you have MSD who's playing the same fight 30 different times in 2 weeks. So I'm excited for Summer of Pain to see these week-long single fight matches and how many times he could beat each match each week. We'll have to start like a betting pool on that one to see who can.
It's different because I enjoy, unlike a lot of people that I talk to about doing fights like Gwen Master or any Abyss fights, I enjoy doing a fight over again so I can apply what I've learned from my previous fight. So, I don't really get tired of doing the same fight over and over and over. So
I thought it was flexing on the entire community.
No, not really. It's more of just a learning experience.
I'm actually like you in a way, because I enjoy doing the same fight over and over if I just find it fun. Because I just find it fun. I really can't help it. I don't know why. Like Grandmaster. I enjoy doing that fight, but I just don't have the energy or willpower to go to it and do it a bunch of times.
Yeah. The annoying thing is the path. It's not the fight. The end reward is fun.
All right, y'all ready to get into the controversial stuff?
Yep, let's do it.
Might as well.
Okay.
We make
Jay.
a maximum of 2 minutes on this question.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the question. This is the big one. Are you one of those people who likes pineapples on pizza?
Does anybody here like pineapple on pizza first before we read his answer?
No.
No? Nobody?
I don't mind it, but I'll eat it. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
This is your daily turkey interjection, saying that pineapples on pizza is the best thing ever, and you guys are all uncultured.
Oh, turkey, you're booted. XN,
Yo.
you're on a fine line right now.
Can I get turkey out of the voice call?
Okay. So let's read what Frenchie had to say about this.
No. Said that being
Sad
said,
Michael Scott face.
So that being said, I tried it, and it almost doesn't taste like pineapple when it's on a pizza. But no, I'm not eating pineapple pizza if there's another choice. Though pineapple is probably my favorite fruit.
I feel the same.
Fair.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can trust anything else that he said to these responses. If he's okay with it, I don't know how much we can trust him.
Yeah, that's kind of... He's already on a fine line with that response, so...
Yeah.
Alright, well, I'll go to the next question. So he asked, are there any champions who you think are underrated by the wider community? And who would that be?
Elsa, Bloodstone, and Venom. I know players think Venom is good, but he still is underrated. Those two were my two first 6-star ranked 3 champions, and I am proud of it.
Really?
Wow.
Those are two very interesting rank 3 6-stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Venom is one of the most useful champions in the entire game, so, if people don't see that, then they're clearly not using Venom properly. But
Well, and
Elsa,
Venom's a very good plug and play. I mean, he's one that, even if you don't know the intricacies of his, SP2 convert to Fury buffs and all that sort of stuff, you just plug him in and just start wailing against the opponent, and he's deadly from the very start. But
yeah, he's very
yeah.
user friendly.
Yes.
He's a really great early champion, and you don't really see that a lot with the end game meta tier champions, that they're good at the beginning and at the end. And Venom is one of those few champions that will be as effective as he was for someone who just started, for someone who needs a good counter for True Strike, or they need a cosmic champ who can nullify buffs, or good Spider-Verse counter. So yeah, Venom. I appreciate the Venom love, and I also I like the Elsa appreciation. I'm a fan of Elsa Bloodstone myself, so good to see that Elsa's getting a little love.
Yeah, she's got a little bit higher learning curve than Venom does. But.
Yeah, for sure. But both of them are pretty sweet, and they have all the data at Kabam, of course. So maybe he's giving a little hint that Elsa and Venom aren't played as much as we think they are, and more so Venom than Elsa, because Venom gets praised a lot by a lot of people. So maybe there are some people that just don't use him. So who knows?
Yeah, Venom is that when you know.
Yeah, I still use a 4-star because I don't have a 5 or 6 star, and he definitely shreds some stuff, man. It's pretty dope.
I take him into war so often because I'm on the Path 9 window of opportunity stun, and people love to put Spider-Verse heroes on there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
yeah.
Thank you. You just made it easy for me.
I run that too, but I rarely see that. And besides, I usually just take my Venom. Occasionally, I'll bring my Net Fury if I need him for a mini, but
yeah, but Venom.
I think Cosmic Ghost Rider is underrated.
Oh my goodness!
You would.
Wow, big shock here. Ooh,
Yeah.
didn't see this one coming.
I think he's overhyped with damage. I'm not going to go on a rant here. I think his damage is a bit overhyped. People get way too hyped about his damage, and the ramp up is a bit crazy. You see him doing like 170k mediums. Like, oh my god! What is underrated about him is his damnation, the power control, buff control, etc. Heal block. So I think that's really good. But yeah, that kind of was a joke. But it really wasn't.
Hey,
It's almost like you.
Slayer. If you need any good Cosmic Ghost Rider videos, I think MSD has some on his channel.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely the guy to go for it.
Yeah, you're the Cosmic Ghost Rider.
I'm on his channel, so.
Yeah.
So,
MSD is the Cosmic Ghost Rider guy. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, if you I think you have a video on this, right? Go into more details. So if anyone wants to check it out, you can find it on Slayer's channel.
Yeah.
Before we move on from this question, does anyone else have any champs they want to shout out as maybe they're underrated, or at least you think they have some uses that people aren't really seeing?
So my two favorite.
Hey, hold on.
We'll get Jim to go first.
Okay, I was going to say my two favorites that are completely underrated: Black Widow, Deadly Origins. She just rinses so much content. She's ridiculous. But my other one that I've really been falling in love with is Storm Pyramid X.
Oh yeah.
Her damage, if you can manage the heavy into specials, you can get her prowess up. The fact that she can bypass people being able to shrug off her stuns and put that passive stun on there. The fact that she does energy damage. You've got, Korg Mix Maxers is always the common one. She just makes that an easy fight. I've fallen in love with Storm Pyramid X, just learning more and more about her and her utility. It's ridiculous. So
Yeah. Big fan of Storm. She's a really, really underrated champion. And I feel like more light's being shed on her now that Jabari Panther's probably going to be in the meta of Alliance War on certain nodes where you need to stun to access damage, or stun is vital to the rotation. and her being able to completely bypass that cleanse. She's the only champion that can natively do that, so that's definitely going to bring her some value. So yeah, big fan of Stormax.
I'm probably gonna get booed for saying this, but Green Goblin.
No.
Get out. Get out.
No.
I
No.
have found
Final
myself
straw.
being-
Sorry. This
I
isn't
found
a
myself
valid
being
answer.
I have been very drawn to Green Goblin. Like if I have an opportunity to play as him, I will.
What? Are you
I'm
playing the
also-
right game?
Yes.
Hey, you know what? You know what? If you
hard.
yeah,
I
you
can't
Maybe
stop
3
laughing.
years ago it did hit decently hard.
No, it actually does right now.
put
But
him on a
His
power
special
shield
two is
though.
actually not too bad. His special two, it seems to hit a little bit hard, like harder than average, I think. But no, he's garbage, dude. What are you doing?
Yep.
Like, there's champs you could argue are underrated, and then there's champs like Green Goblin.
Yeah. For me, Korg. I think Korg is really, really underrated. He did a lot for me for 6.1 completion when it came out. Like, he was the reason I got through that Ultron. He was so good for that fight. He's so good against people who evade. The EMP mod node. He's immune to shock. He countered it some other way too. He had the armor breaks and stuff. He's really good. Like, just drop a special 3, parry twice, and then do a heavy. Parry into your special 3 and then do a heavy after that, and then try to drop a special 2 or something. He's got decent damage. He can tank special 3s. He's got bleed immunity. He's got other stuff. He tells ghosts to piss off. Like, he's not too bad.
I love
That's the
that.
best part of him.
The man's got charisma. And he's really good with the Gladiator Hulk synergy as well, as it increases that duration as well. So yeah, he's good.
I really think an underrated champion is Sentinel because
I
Yeah.
love Sentinel.
it's an easy way to ramp up his damage, and then he has utility like double immunities, regen, armor. Well, it's not an armor up buff, but
Yeah, I kind of wish it was an armor up buff. Then he would have a little more value against Havoc.
have it. Yeah.
Nowadays, Sentinel is like an off-brand Warlock. Like, I don't really use mine ever. I use Warlock all the time. He's really good. I'm not saying he's bad. He's just kind of a worse Warlock in my opinion.
Sentinel's
Well,
great
he's
for
really
the.
good, though.
He was great for the tech variant. Sentinel was
Sentinel
Yes.
is king for the tech
Yeah.
variant.
Yes.
I agree for sure. It was made for him.
Yeah.
Well,
literally,
it was
yeah.
made for-
Yeah. So, speaking of tech, man, my two characters are definitely Hulkbuster and Massacre, man. Hulkbuster, speaking of tech variant, dude, he killed some pass, man, like crazy good. There's a lot of cool videos on him. I love Hulkbuster. I know MSD, you got one, so.
Yeah, recently I acquired a Hulkbuster, so maybe if I can get him awake, and I'll take him up.
Yeah, I really like him. Massacre, I liked him before he got buffed, and since he's got buffed, man, dude, it's really good. I like him, man.
Really, have you found that his damage loop is just more reliable now, or more sustainable?
Oh, definitely more sustainable, man. Oh my goodness, dude. When I'm streaming, man, and I'm playing them, man, like, so good. It's so easy to keep them. You don't have to hit into a block a lot. You can do that SP2 while they're blocked. It's a lot, man. I like it.
Oh yeah, I'd love to get my hands on a higher level version and test him out. I think he's pretty cool. I thought his initial design was cool, like throwing specials into the block intentionally. Thought that was something that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Turkey says my answers would be Nightcrawler and OGDD. Okay, I chose the best one. BRD. Okay.
I get the Nightcrawler one.
Yeah.
I know B, if he were here, he would say Night Thrasher and Man Thing, which I agree, they're both really, really underrated. Night Thrasher's just a great counter. He doesn't have the flashiest damage ramp up or anything like that, but he's got a lot of utility. I think he's overlooked.
Like,
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, he has something like Incinerate, a bunch of Furies. What else does he have?
He's got a lot, man. There's a lot packed in
Yeah.
this kid.
I was.
He's got
Better
True
lead.
Strike.
Auto block and stuff, yeah.
Technically, Disorient, so he counters certain nodes that require Disorient. He can apply multiple debuffs. He can increase the duration with that special 3, Debilitate. He can apply a taunt. He can shrug
Yeah.
off debuffs on knockdown. If you get knocked down, which is more of a defensive thing,
Yeah.
but it's still part of his kit. Something that a lot of people don't know is he can gain 1 bar of power without hitting the opponent. All you have to do is dex a few times.
Oh, right, yeah.
And you get a passive power gain until you reach 1 bar, which I think is super cool. I think that's a really cool mechanic. It just allows you to get easy access to a special attack, easy access to a special attack that can't be evaded or auto-blocked. So in a theoretical scenario, you could essentially X the entire time and only throw special ones and kill an opponent.
Also, am I crazy or do parries do the exact same thing?
Yes, parries also do the exact same thing. Well-timed blocks.
Okay. I was just being sure because I would always see a passive power gain thingy, but I never saw any power being gained.
Yeah, it's a pretty small amount.
Yeah, I'd say my champion is Stealth Suit Spider-Man. Packs a lot.
Definitely mixed feelings on that guy.
I think
Yeah.
it's overrated.
Overrated? All right.
I took my 6-star rank too. I never use him. I feel like if I ran or didn't run the S-word masteries, maybe I would use him a lot more. But I literally have not used him in months. Well, except at Squad Master yesterday. He's kind of good for that.
The only time I was actually going to use my rank 5 stealthy, besides the Hydra Adaptoid in 645, was for Abyss Loot Cage. Then all of a sudden, I just pull a 6-star She-Hulk out of a Nexus from Exploring Act 6. And now I really have no excuse not to use her over Stealthy.
Well, yeah. Well, I didn't have any of those champions until most recently. He was
I
my
will
first
warn you
rank
that
5.
that fight with She-Hulk is about 10 times harder than it is with Stealth Spidey. So
Ooh.
Nice. Okay, so we'll move on to the next question. Right? Are we good?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Yeah.
I think so.
How often do you play MCOC?
He said I played. He said I played daily for as long as I worked with Kabam. With my new job, though, I have to play other games I am working on, so I have less time to play MCOC. My account is still active, though. I put too much work into it to abandon it. So it's good to know he plays actively. One thing I shouldn't necessarily take away from this, but I will. Imagine Kabam Frenchie is in your alliance and you don't know about it. Like any Kabam person is just like they don't disclose their usernames, and I don't think they all play on a different server exclusively.
Yeah.
So there's gotta be, they're like undercover. It's kind of interesting to think about that.
It would be amazing to see just a Kabam employee in a line chat in an alliance just watching the entire alliance crap on Kabam. Like, God, this company sucks. Yeah, man, they're all so stupid. They can't
Oh my god.
Any one of us.
What's funny about that is it may be their way to vent about their frustrations with Kabam as well. Just like,
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, they can't really design quests. I wish I could do something about this. They actually can't. So.
Meanwhile,
they
they're the lead
suck.
quest designer in their alliance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to be part of the Destiny community, and one of the community managers would actually play with people who play the game, and so like you said, that's a little communication, just ear to ear with a player and a developer. So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah. Any one of us could secretly be a Kabam employee, and nobody would know.
Well, not any one of us.
well, yeah, not
MSC.
Yeah.
MSC to the janitor, alright.
So it's funny. My alliance will call me Kabam. I'm a Jim, or Kabam, not that Jim.
Yeah, because there's that gym guy as well. Maybe
Yeah,
that is him. I don't know.
Yeah,
He put on a mask, Yeah.
We've all seen pictures of me and pictures of him, and I'm not the same person. So,
Are you sure?
or I could just be trolling somebody's account and pulling pictures from somebody else's account, pretending it's me.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm playing the long game. Catfishing people.
So Turkey says, no, it's Kabam Slim Jim.
Ooh, I like that.
But yeah, that's a good one. He also says kind of narrowed down Kabam Frenchie's account with that rank 3 Elsa and Venom.
Yeah, that's a good point. Only
all
like a
know
couple
my
hundred
only
people.
one. Well, I could have
Yeah.
2 accounts. So.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So then I asked. Sorry, you go ahead. No, I'll let you do it. Sorry.
So the next question: how has COVID-19 affected how y'all work on the game over the last year?
Titan, do you want to get this one?
Not as much as I thought it would have. The company has been great in helping us to set up our desks. I would say it has mostly affected people more than anything. In my case, I kind of burned out, and with the winter, it was hard to keep my mind at a good place.
Yeah, I think that it still is really hard for a lot of people. It was interesting to me how that affects people who make games and stuff. But I guess I think they've been doing a great job amidst all this chaos. I think they've been doing really, really well because they could have just shut the game down, and stopped developing stuff for a while or something. But they kept at it, which is good because I think people needed that level of entertainment and stuff through all that. And I think we still do, obviously, because it's not over. But yeah, I don't want to get too much into that. But
Yeah.
it's good to know they still kind of pushed through that. And he wasn't afraid to admit it was hard for them. So I sympathize with that as well. I hope they're doing good. I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I think the mental health aspects can be pretty tough for people, and the isolation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Especially being a developer like that and being more of a public figure about it. That's one thing, is he probably got a lot of negative tweets and stuff coming his way. People just need to remember, they're people as well, and we should treat them fairly, even if we don't agree with everything they're doing with the game. Take your frustration and realize you're frustrated because you love the game, and try to be constructive about it. So that's my main takeaway with that.
And there's a lot of people that they're just jerks, period. But then there's also some people that I think their frustration in the isolation and new feelings that they weren't accustomed to coming up, and they were voicing that. And the only way they knew how to put them on the computer screen, because that's how life had been for so many. And then there's, again, like I said, there's just your standard jerks out there that they're that way anyway. So, but it's harder when you're moving to a new way where you used to be in an office. It's fun. You're interacting with people. You're bouncing ideas off of everybody. Now everything's happening virtually. You're just kind of isolated. At the end of your day, you're still in the same place you were when you were working. It does take a toll on people. It doesn't, not 1 day or 2 days, but after several months of doing that, it takes a toll on them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, compared to other companies, other companies definitely slowed down, and Kabam have done a pretty good job. The only thing that was delayed was Summer of Pain, right? That I can.
Yeah.
So.
I think a lot of that. Just adding what you said, I think a lot of that plays into how they planned stuff for the future. Like the next 6 months, they always had a thing laid out, and they always were developing stuff early on. So I feel like they already had stuff prepared, and they just kept that ball rolling, which I think is really beneficial. I think a lot of games do that, obviously, but
yeah,
I think they're very, very good and calculated with planning ahead and whatnot. I know not everything goes as planned, like Summer Pain and stuff, but
yeah,
I think they only delayed it because there was too much content.
Exactly,
is what they said.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I was just about to say that.
It wasn't because they had to delay it necessarily. So I think that did play a huge role in how they handled the pandemic and everything like that. So, yeah.
All right. So the next question is: do you have any nicknames for champions that have not caught on yet in the community?
And he says, not that I know of. So I was wondering, do you guys have any nicknames for champions that haven't caught on?
I don't have any nicknames, but me and Turkey like just to call champions by their actual names. So,
yeah, that's pretty funny. I want to start doing that.
Yeah.
My issue with that though is there's a lot of different like Peter Parkers, for example. So
Yeah, well, I meant like yeah, you get it. Like Electro,
Yeah.
Max, you know, it is what it is.
Thank
The only
you.
one I
Yeah.
call by their real name is Reed. Reed Richards.
Reed Richards, yeah.
It's a good one. Yeah, so I like to do Callie, which is Sorcerer Supreme. Like I like to educate people. Like, hey, this is
yeah,
Callie.
that's
She's
cool.
Indian. Because there's not like you wouldn't really know that. A lot of people don't know that. So I love to educate people.
Yeah, because she wears that blue mask. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the classic like that mask is only in a couple issues of Doctor Strange, so it's really cool that she
Mhm.
wears it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that it's a mask. I think it's like her skin. Like she has blue skin. Like no.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did not know that.
yeah. So yeah, she's she's an Indian character. She's her name's Callie. She obviously comes from Realm, and yeah.
You know, I
I
sometimes
know.
like to call the Cosmic Mole Man Corvus.
I know you started the Kazi G train, and I hate you for it. By the way,
It's so good.
I'll never ever take it back.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
Too bad.
Yeah. I remember Seaton, you called him that, and Seaton was like, don't ever do it again. And Seaton started calling him that, and I was like, oh man, that's it. Then like everyone's gonna start calling him that.
Dude,
So,
it's so
thanks a
catchy.
lot. No, it's not. Stop.
Yeah, I like it. It's kind of died down a bit for sure. More people are just
Yeah.
saying CGR. I think CGR is just so easy
Thank
to
God.
say.
And no, CGR is
Yeah.
what stuck, but you know,
Yeah.
at the time when he was still fresh,
Dude, I liked
can
it.
say, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really good. I think what Cat Murdoch said Spanky was that Cat or Turkeys? But
I think it was Jim actually.
or Jim.
Yeah, that was me.
I was saying
Okay.
Space Frankie, and then you went with. No, well, maybe Kat said it first. I don't remember.
I thought it was
Someone
Cat, but I
said-
wanted to make sure.
Yeah, he's had a few names. Kazi G, cannot believe you. Any other names for
You
that?
know what I call Spider-Ham spam?
Oh
Spam?
goodness.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I call Nick Fury Super Suit.
Oh, that's a good one.
Where's my super suit? Yeah,
Is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think
I
so.
wanna get the next question because this is something I'm.
Okay.
So, any hints for the future champions, content, etc., that you're willing or able to share? I'm really excited about this question.
Okay, so he says, as always, pay attention to the movie release, smiley face. Oh, and I prepared something interesting that is going to come out in a few months, I believe. So, should be around now-ish, maybe next month. I don't know. Wait,
That's
he says
gotta be
something-
that's gotta be
Yeah.
Gauntlet. It has to be.
Yeah, that's
Right.
supposed to be it.
Yeah. So that's cool. He said pay attention to movie releases, so not sure what the cadence is for that, because I know the movie release dates change a lot, which
Yeah.
is why we have Black Widow Deadly Version in the game and the movie's not even out yet.
So,
I
Shang-
know, what a delay.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi's in the game, not really the movie one.
yeah. So,
And I know that's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, this version of Shang-Chi is definitely comic accurate.
same with Mr. Negative. So yeah, I've said this in a lot of my stream, especially my my theory videos and whatnot, that obviously even Kabam Gabe just recently said he has access to the MCU suits. So, you know, when they've talked about it where they get like 9 months in advance for a movie release, they get the suit from Marvel Studios. So Kabam Gabe said on Twitter that they have the suits. And like you said, we have Shang-Chi come to the game, comic appearance.
Yeah.
And we even had the new Scarlet Witch comic appearance once again. So
Yeah, that was super early.
yeah, it's gotta
Way too early,
be.
and now we don't know what's going on with her.
So yeah, Eternals, exactly. Eternals. It's gotta be Eternals.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
That's what I've been saying. Like I've been thinking it's gotta be Eternals. They have room for it on the State of the Battle Royale map to have 2 characters. My guess is Black Knight and Cersei. I'm sure everyone else can guess whatever Eternals you would like to have in the
Yeah.
game.
I feel like they'd slowly add the rest of them as well throughout like the next couple years.
Yeah, I gotta say something though. Most of the Eternals, besides Black Knight and Cersei, and I think Icarus, and so one of the people who runs, all of them have the same exact abilities. So if we do get
Oh,
Eternals, I
It'd
think
be kind of repetitive, yeah.
Well, no, I think Kabam would actually
Well,
make
with,
them original. Like, I think they would.
Oh,
I think they
yeah.
would spin them off and do something. Because, you know, like, it is Jack Kirby, obviously, Eternals, and Kabam Gabe loves Jack Kirby. We got Psycho Man this year. We got Mangog. I'm just saying Jack Kirby love. I'm just saying Jack Kirby love. Calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down, MSD. So yeah, it is Jack Kirby. They're Jack Kirby creations. The Eternals are as well. So I definitely think we could get some cool Jack Kirby love with some original Kabam spin-offs. Like obviously King Groot was one of a Kabam original spin-offs where he was an existing character, but we got a Kabam original model. Something like that. So I definitely can see just with the MCU suits, just with their own abilities in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I really like that. I never thought of that, so I'm happy to hear that. You know, they're going to be maybe well, you know, a good chance that they're going to be more original with it and stuff. So yeah. But yeah, Eternals, excited for that. Hopefully not more Cosmics, though. They probably would be. I don't want more Cosmic Champions right now.
Yeah, I mean, Black Knight.
I really don't.
I talked to a little bit about with some other Freedom Society members like Turkey and Marcus Pack, and if Black Knight comes to the game, he's kind of like Guillotine, so he would definitely be Mystic. I said Cersei, so she would definitely be Cosmic, but she is like a sorceress, so who knows? But everyone else would be a Cosmic for sure.
Yeah, most of them would have to be Cosmic.
Yeah.
If they came to the game.
Well, and let's keep in mind too that just because we believe it may be something, it all depends on what you're trying to fit in here. So,
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
You know, the game is a story, so you know it has to fit the story.
You could have had Shang-Chi. You could have easily been Mystic.
Well, wait. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I want to say something. The reason why people are certain classes, even Kabam Gabe said this on Twitter, you can find out why the Fantastic Four are science characters, because I thought they'd be cosmic, and then when they came to the game, they were science. So there's like a huge thread on Kabam Gabe's Twitter explaining it. But the main takeaway is that characters are under a class because of the abilities they have in the game. You're not going to be a mystic. Maybe you got your powers through a mystic means, but when it comes to the gameplay mechanics, you're gonna have cosmic abilities like Furies, like armor breaks, or whatever, whatever it is. So Cosmics are about getting those certain buffs, and Mystics are about nullifying, and that's like the I'm forgetting the word, but you guys know what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. Every class has its kind of own identity.
My only thing is why Ghost is tech instead of Cosmic, if that's the case.
Well, Ghost is technology. She's not it's the suit.
Yeah, I think what he's
that
saying
allows her
is
to phase.
because she gets the Furies and Precisions. That's what he's saying.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, her kit seems to be
The kit. I see.
She's
Yeah.
also immune to debuffs whenever you dash back. When she
A lot of champs gain buffs though, like Night Thrasher even gains Fury, and like a lot of the new ones, like Shang-Chi, he gained like precisions and stuff. So I don't know.
It's definitely been
I think I spread
blended since
buffs.
then.
Yeah, it's blended a lot. Like you're not, like, hate to bring it up, but CGR, he's got buff control and stuff. That's a Mystic ability.
I mean, he
he's
was
got that.
supposed to be Mystic. I don't know if anyone knows
He
that.
was supposed to be Mystic.
Yeah, but his name is Cosmic Ghost Rider, not Mystic Ghost Rider. But that's just a good example of, and I really like that they can kind of mix the identities a little bit and kind of mess around with what a champion can have from a certain class. Like you got Warlock with like armor breaks, but that's traditionally a Cosmic ability, because Cosmic champs are supposed to break the armor of tech champs. So I think that's interesting that they're kind of mixing it more.
I think what it came down to, which you're seeing a lot, is this idea of, okay, Warlock was put in as a good counter towards someone like a boss with the armor.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's as different characters get different abilities. You've really seen, in the past with the reworks and the new champions that are coming out there, it's a lot of very heavy gameplay. It's a lot of prowess type of gameplay for mutants, which we really didn't see early on in the game. But we're seeing a lot more of that being added into the game. And that's almost becoming their identity, is that, it's that very heavy type of attack. Get those prowesses up. So whether it's,
Yeah,
Colossus, seeing Magneto, of course. A lot of that very heavy. So.
Yeah,
Professor X, Apocalypse, Gambit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really become an identity of theirs.
Emma Frost.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
Storm Pyramid X. I mean,
yeah. So.
Havoc.
Havoc,
Yeah.
Jubilee.
So I
Sunstorm
think
to an extent.
they're almost becoming one of the more defined. You've got Mystics have the nullification, Cosmics you have a lot of buffs. Mutants, it's that very heavy gameplay with the prowess.
It's that big special damage, man. That's the mutant class. That's what they bring to the table for the most part. Because you look at Professor X, he's all special damage. Apocalypse, he's like a mix of DOT and special damage. Namor, he's in terms of his damage output, it's special damage. Gambit, special damage. Magneto, special damage. Only a few champs like Archangel, Omega Red, they're more of a baseline, non-special oriented way of maximum damage output. But, Domino, special damage. Sabretooth with his Furies, that's special damage. So just so many champions that rely on the special attacks, so prowess is becoming their definitive ability. And I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon. I think it's going to be incorporated in different ways. Maybe there's going to be more passive prowess being incorporated instead of it always just being an active buff. But yeah, that is like the signal of the mutant class. It's prowess and it's simple gameplay, because there's not really a mutant in the game that's difficult to use. They're all very simple, other than Professor X.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of what they're known for.
I'm gonna argue Rogue is
Depending on the matchup, Rogue is very difficult to use.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, they need to look at my Rogue buff. But,
I mean, yeah.
She should be able to steal a lot more than she should with regards to buffs. If they made her more comic accurate, she would be broken. But that's kind of what I want. So
yeah. Oh man.
So does anyone else have any?
Since we're talking about the mutant class, there is it's pretty much we do have Kitty Pryde that might be coming to the game this year with a connection to the State of the Battle Round map. Do you think she'll fit this this almost, I wouldn't say stereotype, but do you think she'll fit that prowess parry gameplay?
I hope not. I hope she breaks the mold. I hope she's a crazy phase champion or something like that, like Ghost kinda. Or something like that.
Some kind of of a more. I mean, Ghost isn't that hard to play. I want a really challenging. What's a good skill cap champion? I want a new. God, I don't even know. Who's other than Quake? Who's really? I want a mutant Tigra. That's what I want from Kitty Pryde. I want to use her ability to miss in phase to avoid special attacks and counter certain attacks, and that countering deals damage or something like that. I think making her extremely difficult to play with her miss mechanic. If she were to have a miss
it should
mechanic,
not be miss. It should be called intangible, because she doesn't. She literally. It should be called intangible, not miss.
With her intangible mechanic.
Yeah.
Listen,
that's how.
Guys, as long as Daredevil.
That should be Ghost as well.
Yeah.
As long as Daredevil can't hit her, I'm fine with it. I don't care. Okay. But I don't want any of this funny Daredevil hitting Ghost business while she's phasing, right?
Yeah.
No more. Yeah.
So I'll explain for those who don't know. Obviously, both Daredevils in the game can hit Ghost while she's phasing, and Slayer actually asked Kabam why this is, and they explained a scapegoat is that the laws of physics aren't the same in the battle realm, because she obviously phases through dimensions and she can't be hit while phasing through a dimension, but Daredevil can hit her because he can't miss. So it's really a scapegoat, and that's what we're talking about.
Daredevil can literally punch people through space and time. Like, okay.
That's essentially what they're saying. So why
then
isn't
I didn't see
Daredevil
you
like
suck.
the best in the game?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. That would make Daredevil the Flash then, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh yeah, he can actually.
That's stupid. It's just an excuse for him to make game mechanics more consistent. Screw them. No, I'm kidding.
To be fair, he does kill himself pretty fast with the Ouchie Masteries.
Yes.
This is Hell's Kitchen, of course, right?
Yeah, of course. Normal Daredevil, he can survive at least.
Unpopular opinion: Shadowcat should have an intangible mechanic, and she should also be the first character to be able to root an opponent. But I know that that's not really the intention.
Oh, let's not get in the root.
Let's drop that.
Let's move on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before we move on, I want to say that.
All right. So the next question is, as someone in your position, how do you handle the overwhelming amount of community feedback at times?
Okay, so he says good and bad. I used to read community feedback a lot, and it's fine. We make polls, have the CCP Discord, read the forums, Reddit, and I watched a lot of streams and videos from our content creators. You just have to, that's good to know. You just have to be organized and know when feedback is genuine or made with anger, happiness, or any other state of mind. And if that's the case, they need to know, or if that's the case, you need to know why the game produced those wanted or unwanted feelings. Reading how feedback is made is as important as the feedback itself, which I think is a really good perspective. He goes on to say, but when I started to be involved personally by creating my Twitter account, for example, it took a toll on my mental state. I wanted to be involved more and more transparent and share more information with you guys. But when things don't turn out the way players want, you know how that goes. I did that in my free time, and being our economy public face in the community, everything ended up in my face, and you all know how vocal minority acts. No one prepares you for that, even though you think you are being polite or silent while people insult you is really hard to contain. In the end, I will mostly remember the wholesome and positive interaction I have with the community. So, I really like what he said about where the feedback coming from is just as important as the feedback. I think that's a really good perspective. I didn't really think of that myself. As far as people attacking him and stuff, obviously that's not okay. Can't really justify that at all. No matter, even if, it's 12.0, something crazy like that. Gotta keep stuff constructive. There's not much else I can say about that already. I don't want to repeat what I said earlier, but I don't know if you guys have anything to say on that.
Yeah, you go.
And I won't take long, Tay, but one of the things that really irks me is, it's one thing to kind of lobby a complaint towards a company. Hey, Kabam, hey, Marvel Contest of Champions. Hey, here's our complaint. When are y'all going to fix this or stuff like that? But what was happening was you see community members, whether it's Frenchie, whether it's Thel, whether it was Sassy or MK or John, anyone that, was brave enough to actually get on the social media and interact with people, you would see people treating them like they weren't even human. I mean, they would just lash out at them. Not everybody. A lot of people were really good and really engaged, but it's this idea, and I saw some of the comments even after Frenchie left, that, well, they work for a company, they should be able to take it. And I don't agree with that. I do not think that just because somebody works for a company that they should be subject to the type of bile and vitriol that gets thrown their way. And hey, that's part of, unfortunately, it's a part of human nature. There's keyboard warriors, there's trolls, there's people that just lack etiquette, period. They're selfish. They were never really taught how to communicate with people. But I never agreed with attacking an individual employee. Lobby your complaint towards the company. That's fine. Come with it with constructive criticism or perhaps an idea on how to fix it. Then you become part of the conversation. When you say, hey, you, F you, fix your game, that's not constructive. and there's no company in the world that's going to go, well, we weren't planning on fixing our game but until you came up and you said, hey, F you, fix your game, we have now decided to fix it. So I've never understood that kind of interactions. But okay, I'll let you jump in. Sorry about that.
Oh, good, man. Yeah, it's a great explanation. I was just gonna say, you see a lot of even music artists, man. They deactivate their Twitter. Or they have people run their Twitter because it's such a toll on them. So it's pretty good that he's came out and said this, because it's not something you would normally hear, especially from a Kabam employee. We don't. Yeah, I like when we can interview them, because we can really get their thoughts, pick their brain, get to know them, and this is something that's important to him. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Even the guy who played John Walker, Wyatt Russell, he deleted his Instagram because he's getting death threats for playing a character, which utterly ridiculous. But that's just another comparison of that. Just gotta remember these people are people as well. And I get frustrated. You guys have seen me get frustrated and stuff with the state of the game or something going on or whatever. It's kind of bad. And I try to make it as constructive as I can, because these people are doing their jobs. They're trying to make it enjoyable. They're not running this game just to make people miserable. A lot of people are really cynical about that. F Kabam, they hate us, and but they can't make a game that is only designed to make money. That's their goal, because it's a company, right? But at the same time, nobody's gonna play if it's not fun. So they're trying to make it fun, enjoyable, and stuff. So people need to be a bit less cynical and more accepting. That's kind of my final take on that.
Nice.
All right. So the next question was, how often would you say folks at Kabam look at summoner fan builds and concepts for future events and champions? How much do they influence them?
I'll answer this. So he says, Kabam Frenchie says, we definitely are influenced by everything you guys are producing, but we almost never take your ideas to put them in the game. Not because the ideas are not good, but simply because you are missing out on a lot of internal knowledge, making it hard to create a design that answers our problems or fit our goals. So Jim, obviously we have in here, he actually he had a group buff, and then that kind of the group buff is where he would die. He would actually help his teammates, and this ability kind of showed up in Apocalypse. So it's something Jim had it's pretty cool. So that he might have influenced Apocalypse, which is really awesome. Conspiracy theory. I started making fan buffs recently, and it's definitely true to what he's saying, missing out on a lot of internal knowledge. I can't tell you how hard it is to make buffs and try to think through so many different matchups on how my fan buffs, like Spider-Man 2099, if he works as a tech character, how can I incorporate that into the game? How will he go with other characters fighting with him on the team or going against certain characters and whatnot. So it's a lot that they think about. And Hercules, for example, when we're watching the dev diaries on him, is really cool to actually see it all progress. Yes, if anyone else wants to add some stuff.
I will say it is cool that they are, like you said in the last question as well, they're looking at community stuff, they're watching people's streams, videos, champ builds, etc., and kind of maybe getting ideas and stuff from that. I'm glad they're more receptive towards stuff that we're putting out there. So that's always great and reassuring to know that the ideas and stuff we're putting out there aren't just falling on deaf ears.
Oh, and I forgot to say, but we are exposing a lot of things to the CCP, and those guys are definitely helping us make our design stronger with their knowledge of the gaming community. That's
right. And I think with that, they're saying with the CCP, the way that Dragon and Royal have helped build the champions.
Yeah, BG as well. Hopefully more.
Yes.
I would love to work on a Legion build, Kabam. Just, let me know.
Yeah.
I can vouch.
MSD is...
Right on.
I was going to ask MSD, since I know you'll hopefully be accepted to the CCP in the future once you become of age. Is there a character you would like to build on? Like, make a fan build? Actually work on that character with Kabam?
I'd love to work on Anti-Venom. think that'd be
Oh.
super cool to work on, because at this point he's all but confirmed with the new Mr. Negative synergy.
Yeah.
So
I'm a little.
I would love to work on Anti-Venom.
I'm a little like I think that works out. I think that connects to Null. And I definitely that's an October champion for sure this year. So you might be a little bit too early or late on that.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I probably will be too early, or I probably will be too late, given that they design champions way before.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get the results of the Ant-Man or Guillotine vote in June, and they're not going to be released until like November. So you can tell they start designing way early. So
I can't wait for those, man.
I'm not sure. Do they have a poll on the forums, or are they just going to announce the winners when all the votes have been tallied from the arena? I believe it's the latter.
Yes. I don't have the answer to that.
I'm pretty sure it's the latter.
Yeah.
I think it's the latter because they already did the forum post and the. I think they'll tally up the tickets from the arena, and that'll be. I don't think there's going to be another one. That's not what I heard anyway. I might have to go back and check.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think they'll tally up the arena, just like Slayer said. Really hoping Guillotine wins. Come on, the baby of the contest, first original champion.
Yeah, me too. I'm voting for the underdog Guillotine. So yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next question then. What is your interest in the economy aspect of the game, and is it something your mind was set on maintaining when you started working at Kabam?
If Titan wants to take this answer.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
In general, I believe that the economy is the best way to create and maintain the game excitement and interest high. I love when I see all the reaction when you see an update you are excited about, or the speedrun type streams with their reworked early game. That shows how skill and knowledge about the economy makes a huge difference in the progression. The game is complicated as Marvel Contest of Champions is an everyday challenge, not only because I need to satisfy you guys, but I also have to work with almost every department at Kabam. We have a passionate community, so every change is analyzed, and I love to see you guys criticizing what I brought into the game, good or bad. Marvel Contest of Champions is a game that definitely plays on your feelings, and I tried to stay true to its core.
Anybody got any thoughts on it?
I think that was too eloquently put for me to have any thoughts. So
I think so too. That's like
yeah.
I mean, okay. Well, so with that being said, we'll just move on to the next one then. Can you tell us what it is like working with Kabam, and what was the atmosphere and your experiences like?
Am I reading this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I loved the most were the people. They are great, intelligent, and very welcoming people. It was really hard to leave Vancouver because of them. I made great friends, and I learned a lot. Going over there was probably one of the best decisions in my life. There's no competition. We all try to make a great game. We constantly are destroying each other's designs, in the sense that they're giving a lot of feedback and questioning everything, because we want to push for the best quality, but that's what being a designer ultimately is, and I love it.
That's awesome, man. I would love to go to Kabam, and especially go to New York Comic Con for the first time and meet the team, and that sounds awesome. Sounds like a lot of awesome people on the team.
That sounds so good right now, especially during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I would just love to be able to go and interact with you in life.
Okay. So the next question is from mcoc.
Which I'll be answering.
Would the original inventory capacity break the game today? Example, no cap on potions or revives.
That's more of a tech problem. I have no idea. But my thing is that I can't believe that the designer of the lead producer of the economy station doesn't have any idea what letting overflow revives or potions or stuff, how it would break the game. Well, you know what I mean, right?
Like the amount you can have in your inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's. I think this is some of the problems sometimes is we make assumptions based off of what we may think
Yeah.
or how something may work. So, we say we don't know how a lead game designer, or whatever, may not understand this, but we don't know necessarily how much information is shared back and forth between the different departments, between the tech, saying that this is required or whatever. So.
All right, man. So I'll read the next question. So this is obviously by the awesome dude Otrix. Says, "Can I work at Kabam in the future, or am I blacklisted?" Probably a joke. Haha.
Honestly, I think you should apply when you were done with school. They are always looking for passionate people with a good skill set, and you are not at all someone that devs despised.
Yeah. So if anyone doesn't know, Otrix is the legendary data miner, who used to be the guy who would leak every character coming to the game at the beginning of the month or at the end of the month for the next month. So he's leaked a lot of the content. He's obviously stopped. He's retired, and he kind of want to leak in his past, So he was curious if actually he was blacklisted or not. So that was really cool that they're like, we don't despise you. They would love to have you on the team, which is really cool. And yeah, that's really cool. It's really interesting that he got that response.
So Ultrix also goes on to ask, "Is a hot dog a sandwich?"
No.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
I would hope that people don't think that a hot dog's a sandwich because it's not covered up. Well, it's not. There's only one side that's exposed, not two.
Oh my goodness.
If you know what I mean. Or, you know what I mean, right? It's not like stacked.
What if you flip the hot dog on its side?
Bro, what?
It's not stacked unless you rip the hot dog side.
I think this is a question for Spider. Hit him.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's probably who I would ask.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a cartoon answer. All right, so the next question, the last question Otrix asked is actually what's the best moments of MCOC?
Becoming uncollected. That was the very first milestone, and that felt great! Exclamation point. My first 4th of July too. Spent way too much, but got my first 5-star rank 5.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting to see they spend on the game. I mean, it's kind of a given, I guess. But it's like you spend time creating something, right? All this time working on it, and you play it, which is cool as well. I'm glad they do play it. But they spend on it as well. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. I
have to wonder if they get like Apple iTunes or
do
play cards as part of their bonus.
Yeah.
I wonder. Cool.
Yeah, I wonder if they're just like us too, or like they do those surveys to get the cards and whatnot.
Yeah, like if you work at like McDonald's and you get like a free thing or something, if stuff like that. It's just kind of interesting to me that it still applies, or maybe might apply to the game as well. That's kind of interesting.
Nice. All right, so
they'll have test accounts that they could go in and play that they don't have to spend on. So,
Yeah. All right, so the last society member, Mr. King, says, "What's the funniest thing that's happened to you while working at Kabam?"
Hot sauce challenge. Is it pronounced Mike or Mike or Meek or?
I say Mike, but I know a lot of people say Mike.
It's pronounced Cyclops.
Okay, that makes sense.
Hot sauce challenge Cyclops exposed me on Twitter. Probably the funniest thing. I could not take it anymore. My left arm was numb. I felt very dizzy and had some lag in my... Does that say lag?
Yes.
Lag in my eyes. Someone asked if somebody wanted to take a shot of hot sauce. It was my chance to bail out of the contest by taking the shot. Perfect excuse to give out afterward. Biggest mistake ever. I drank 2 liters of milk, but it did nothing, so I had to go throw up. I spent the day miserable, but it was funny as heck.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm glad the work environment there isn't like super formal or anything. Like I remember you saw that one video from a couple years ago, like showed what the offices were like, and they were like riding skateboards or like dogs on treadmills and crazy stuff like that. I'm glad to hear some of these stories that kind of stay true to that kind of atmosphere. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
you know, I thought it was very interesting that when Frenchie announced his departure from Kabam, the first employee that responded back to him was Kabam Mike, and he brought up that story about the hot sauce. And so it's very cool that he did that. And that to me is one of the 2 funniest things that I've seen Mike involved with. And the other one is the infamous video where Dave went up to visit, was doing some.
Oh my God, yeah.
And he had Mike pop his crystal, and it was Cyclops.
Yeah.
That was so good. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's Mike's gonna tell his grandchildren about that. Like, gather around. Let me tell you the story.
I'm so surprised
Iconic.
that he hasn't been pushing for a month.
I mean, he's effective, bro. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he thinks he's too good, man. Like he's effective, you know.
I mean,
Did you not
He's
see?
way too good.
Did you not see Big Kid Scotty's? But yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He showed that he was not effective.
Hey,
No, he wasn't playing him right. All right, he's got to.
He was sorry, he wasn't in AQ. That's why.
That's what it was.
Oh right, yeah, exactly.
All right, so
I have a video
all right, go ahead, man.
I actually have a video on my YouTube channel about Cyclops being effective because I brought him into the 6-3 Havoc boss.
Oh yeah, he was good against Havoc. Yeah, because their specials, the beam attacks don't deal damage to each other. Fun fact. I don't know why. I forgot why. Like the comic reason for it. Because they're brothers, but like I don't know why it works like that. But cool
So yeah, they're immune to their own. So they're both immune to their own abilities, but they also have the same abilities because they share the same wave. It's like an issue. I think Vulcan's the same way. Their other brother. They actually have another brother.
Oh, okay. So why can the Cyclops both damage each other?
Scapegoat.
Hey, can I just
The other
say,
Cyclops is the imposter.
Yes.
Yeah, let me just say this though. Some of the hidden Easter eggs that they put into the game, such as Mojo being immune to growth,
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I love that one.
those were I love that they do that. And there's only a few of those Easter eggs. There's a lot of text call out Easter eggs that are in the game, but those hidden abilities that some of the characters have. That's really interesting. I'm sure Jay probably has a spreadsheet that has all of them listed, but
I do.
yeah, it's really cool to see some of these hidden abilities, whether it's Havoc and Cyclops, whether it's Rogue with Mojo, being able to see the inverted controls where certain people are affected by it. Until the Ghost thing, and Daredevil not being affected by this mechanics and stuff like that. It's really cool. But, yeah, I like those little hidden Easter eggs.
The thing is too is like I don't think I found them all. That's the reason why I don't have that list public, because these like you talked about like if I have a document, I do have a document for that. But I feel like I just found I keep finding more with Doom. Doom has so many like fun little.
No, he has so many like weird ones out of nowhere that just show up.
Yeah.
You look like War Machine in a hoodie.
Yeah, that's the most common
That's
one.
Classic.
Yeah.
Him and Namor.
Yes, the tooth of horn.
Dude.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Yeah.
that one's
Isn't
great.
there one with MODOK also?
Yeah.
Everyone has an. What does he say? Like,
Yeah. MODOK tells him to silence, and he says, "I do as I please."
yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he has one with Strife as well.
Oh wow. So they just keep adding new ones with Doom as well. Yeah. That's cool. I love that kind of stuff. I just wish it was more common.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised if he had one with like Squirrel Girl.
He does actually.
Yeah, he does.
Really?
What does it say?
Yeah. He like screams or something when Tippy Toe attacks him.
I screamed.
It's something like that. I think Jay knows what it is exactly. But
I know there is one, but my memory. So yeah, it's on the list. I have it somewhere, but I don't have it on me right now. Yeah, there's a couple cool ones. Like I said, I want to finish. There's a lot of testing. I want to go through that and just actually go through get all the characters and whatnot. And especially like you just said with Strife being a 2021 champ, actually getting one Doom, that just makes me think that there's even more. So
I like Immortal Abominations Ack.
Gotta go fast.
When he that one too. Yeah, that one's so good. It's probably one of my favorites. When he like spits the two and he goes like ack on the side of the screen, it's pretty funny.
Go fast. That's an MSD call out right there. It's definitely a song.
Yeah, that
You
one's
gotta
pretty
go
funny.
fast. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a little end note here from the society. Do Jim or Slayer want to read that?
I'll respond.
They don't want to.
Or do you want to read it?
Regardless, we all wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time to answer our questions, and for everything you've done for our community, and for being so transparent. We know your job isn't an easy one, but we want you to know that we all appreciate you, and we wish you luck in whatever you do next. I hope you know you have a supportive community to return to if you ever need it.
We love you.
Never added that.
The last thing says we love you.
Oh, we love you.
So he says thank you all. It's been a pleasure talking with you all. You are a great and passionate community. Don't change that. It's because of the people like you that the games can continue to move forward and stay alive for a long time. Long live the MCOC society, baby.
Yeah, let's go.
Hell
MCOC
yeah.
Society.
So MSD, now you know. Society.
Yeah, dude. Now you have internal support.
Yeah.
The pillars are strengthening.
Yeah, the amount of times that we get likes from the society channel from folks like Gabe, it's interesting just how many people are following that right now. Other things that we're doing, and it's just about creating a fun environment for people to be creative, talk about the game, and be constructive.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the future of society. Slayer has been a real job. Obviously, I'm a friend of the society, so if you ever do want to become a friend of the society, by joining the friends, it'd be you can always talk to Slayer. There's obviously huge projects in the future, especially in the summer. We got a cool thing going on that I won't disclose, and then
There makes cards for us some days.
Yeah. We would be glad to have you, Misty. I for sure, when we were getting the questions, I know you wanted to have some input and have some questions in there, so it would have felt wrong to not have you in on that, because I know you were talking a lot about the T5CC situation and stuff like that at the time, so glad you joined us and everything.
Thank you for including me.
MSD,
no problem.
I'll tell you this,
Glad to have you.
Society does not have an age requirement.
Oh, thank God. Really, I was concerned about that one.
Yeah, we have Turkey and Titan,
Hey, me and Turkey are living proof that there's no age requirement.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
God, age requirements, they really are the plague of my existence.
All right, everyone. Well, I think that's going to be the end of it. If anyone wants to have some closing remarks, we can. It's been a fun almost 2.5 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it has. I wanted to say thank you to everybody. If you listened to the whole thing, if you skipped around, thank you for listening. I want to say thank you to Kabam Frenchie for taking the time to answer our questions. I want to wish you luck in whatever you're doing next. And yeah, basically what I said in the closing statement. But I really appreciate stuff like this, just being able to communicate with developers and stuff and talk about the game and their intentions with stuff. I think this has been a really eye-opening experience, and hope to see more stuff like this in the future. So
Yeah, I'm excited with what we can do. I'm happy that Kabam, whether you're on their way out or still active with the community, is willing to have a conversation with us. Jay might have spoiled it earlier. Still looking actually live. This I am the MCO Tom Holland. Thanks for listening.